to tell a story about Dad.
Now, Kelly, I know you're thinking that I'm going to tell what you think I'm thinking, but it's not.
But they can't hear you.
Oh, okay. So, Kelly, your stomach, your heart's in your stomach.
Well, actually, my heart is on fire because
What do you think I'm going to
Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
Part of it, not the whole thing.
spill it.
So, when Kelly and I met in 3rd grade, I won't put that in.
We met in 3rd grade at Washington Elementary School.
This is a drinking story?
Well, no, and I won't
Wow.
tell, unless she gives me permission, I won't tell the part
Does
of
she
it.
have permission, Kelly?
She has permission.
Oh my God, all right, okay, so I'm from Niles, born and raised. My father passed away when I was 10 in 1972. Huge Dragons fan, huge Bob Shaw fan. And when I met Kelly in 3rd grade, I was just enamored because he was an icon, and I loved football from the time I was little. And so when he passed away, when I was in 4th grade,
Your dad,
Your
not
dad.
my dad.
yeah, when my dad passed away, yeah. Well, that's a good intro.
You're welcome.
What I'm gonna tell. So anyway, so what ended up happening was, when Kelly invited me to her house on Bonnie Bray, I was just like, oh my God, I'm at Coach Shaw's house. This is like being at the president's house back in the day. And so I was so excited. And I was like, oh my God, Kelly, your dad's the coach and da-da-da-da. And so she said to me, okay, well, I've met your dad. Or
You've met
my dad. Can I meet your dad? And I said, at 10, 11,
9 or 10,
11,
yeah.
I said, no, my dad's dead. So I wasn't going to say that, but she allowed me to. And so over the years, it was a joke between the two of us. And
Anytime I called her one time and she's like, "What are you doing?" I go, "Oh, I went and bought the coolest shoes. They're like little black flat shoes like your dad would wear to church." And she would say, "Not my dad, he's dead."
Not my dad.
Right. Okay, so it was a joke for years. How can you get over that, right? Because we've been friends forever. So
Oh my God.
my husband said to me the one time, I was married in '86, and
I'm scared.
he said, Betsy, he goes,
JD.
I'm telling you, you two need to stop that because it's going to bite you in the butt when you use that word sometimes. So, before Beth was born, and before Kevin came in the picture, she lived in Brookville, PA, and she was the general manager of the hotel. And she was, for 3 months, she was dating this guy. He was very nice. And
Can you tell Beth how nice I was when I was dating?
he was. She was very nice. She was very nice. Very nice. I'll tell you a story later. No, I won't. She won't allow me. But anyway, what ended up happening was, I was there because she had like a suite that she lived in. He was a very nice young man. And so we were talking, just the 3 of us there. And somehow the subject came up and we told our joke, and the young man said, well, I hope it gets easier. My dad just died 2 weeks ago. And we just looked at each other and we're like, I tell him, he goes, I told you.
Not to tell that joke.
Bite you in the ass.
So anyway, but I just want to say that even though it was a long time in between when I would see my dad, Bob, pseudo dad, he was always so funny and such a dry wit, and I loved him to death. And I have more memories, this is kind of sad, I have memories of my father, but I have more memories of Kelly's dad, and then I do my own dad.
Yeah.
I remember the ice cream. I remember going to visit in West Virginia.
No, the best is your wedding. It was rehearsal. Dad, we lived in Arkansas, and I flew up to be a bride. I wasn't allowed to be the maid of honor because I wasn't from Niles. I had to be a regular bridesmaid.
She's not bitter about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Watch this.
She doesn't seem bitter at all, does
Do
she?
you still talk to your maids of honor?
Wait a minute,
No.
Kelly, wait a minute.
So,
Something, wait.
wait. So,
Every state she's lived
Gotta
in,
turn into MMA.
I did table
every
tennis.
state she's lived in, she has had the accent. So she comes to my mom's house when she flies in with an ice storm into Youngstown Airport, right?
know it is.
and both are sick. She's laying on the couch, and all of my they're all like sitting there listening to her because she's got this drawl from Arkansas. And I'm like, so I'm sitting there and I'm going, my one girlfriend was there, and I'm like, this is all about her, isn't it? And she goes, yeah, I think so. And I'm like, well, that's Kelly. So I'm like enamored with you.
Well,
which I love.
Dad was recruiting the area, and
Right.
you said, listen, if Dad can come to the wedding or if he can come to the rehearsal, he's welcome to come. So we're at First Presbyterian Church. Was that it? First Christian Church.
First Christian.
Behind the McKinley Memorial. And we're down at the front of the altar, right, at rehearsal. And all of a sudden, and nobody's facing the back of the church. We're all facing Reverend Bernard. And all of a sudden, you hear this familiar voice from way in the back of the church that says, "Hey, Bernie, glad to see you're still working." And it was my dad.
It was priceless.
It was great. And he
Priceless.
came, you had him to your rehearsal dinner.
Right, yeah.
And actually, Aunt Kay and Uncle John came to the wedding.
Yeah, it was wonderful. But
Yeah.
I just want to say I have many memories of him, and he had such a dry sense of humor. I mean,
Dry?
To me, it was dry. It was hysterical, and the love from everybody in his family, his children, his grandchildren. It was great. But when I saw him in West Virginia, when they lived there, I asked him. I said, because he was going to retire, and I said, "Why are you retiring?" And I don't know if I ever told you this, Kelly.
Because they made him.
No. This is what he said to me. He
Not
said,
bitter.
This is what he actually said to me, and I don't think I ever told you this. He said, "Well, it's changed a bit because all of the coaches yell and yell at the players, and I'm not a yeller."
Wait a minute. Was he a yeller?
No.
Oh, really?
Not at the
He left that to coach.
Not at the player. Not at the player. He said, "I can't do that." And for that reason, that's why I want to retire.
Okay, I want to know why you didn't coach in the SEC.
Hey, he was in the USFL. But
He did coach with Terry Bowden, who's related to Bobby
and I
Bowden.
watched him in the Fiesta Bowl with JD pulling him back when he was like gonna
He
run
had the
out.
belt, had the belt hold.
Yeah.
When you mentioned Fiesta Bowl, so
Here we go.
on behalf of the Arizona Wildcats, Pete Mahoney, myself, Billy Netling, I just want to send a message to the kids, okay, the family. Thanks for sharing your dad with us, because a college football coach's life, you know, most of his time is spent with his other kids, which was us. And, you know, I'm from Cauca Falls, Ohio. You go 3,000 miles away, you're by yourself, you're away from your family, and to have a father figure of your coaches, you know, they're the staple in your lives. And you mentioned the Fiesta Bowl. The thing I really recall, one of the happiest moments as a player, every year we played our rival Arizona State the Friday after Thanksgiving. And Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, we would gather as a team, and that the coaches brought their kids and their wives, and we were all one big family. And that was just a special moment, you know, because, you know, you're away from your family on the traditional holiday, and then the Fiesta Bowl, you know, we're playing on Christmas Day. And, you know, it's the first time I was ever away from my folks at Christmas. But what a strength we had knowing that our coaches were there for us. So I know it's tough. Cherish those memories of your dad and share those stories. Share them with your kids. Like the father said today. You got to keep telling that story, just like the disciples did, right? They keep telling that story over and over and over, because, you know, some of the little grandkids, you know, they're not going to remember Grandpa the way you did. And so share those memories, gather strength for the tough days ahead. And again, thanks for sharing your dad with us.
Nice, Billy.
If I may add,
someone asked the question, was he a yeller? No. No. He didn't need to. He would get mad. But he wouldn't get mad at you. He got mad at what you did wrong, okay? And he didn't need to yell because he got respect from his players. And the thing about it, as a player, you didn't want to disappoint him. And so he got more out of people, more out of his athletes than any coach I knew. And when I went on to coach, I wanted to emulate Coach Shaw because he cared about you as a person more than he did as an athlete. And he cared a lot about his athletes. He was quite a competitor. But you talk about a quality person. When he walked in the room, the place went quiet, out of respect, not out of fear. He never, hate to use the term, especially with you, he never was a hard guy, tough guy.
You can say it.
He never hard-assed you, right? He got the most out of you because you wanted to perform for him, because you respected him. That's what I remember about Coach Shaw.
I was going to talk after the young lady, but when he stood up and he stood up, the size of them, I just figured I'd get my mouth.
You don't think they played football, do you?
I was honored, and my fellow colleagues were
Thank you
honored
so much.
for Coach Shaw. And I had Bob, Coach Shaw. Never called him Bob, I was afraid.
Yeah.
Coach Shaw, Coach Stennett, and all of us had somebody in your life that just give you that little nudge to go the right way. And I was bad in school. If you talk to some of the kids that I went to school, I was bad.
Yes, he was.
I tell you, yeah, those guys remember. But I tell you how bad I was. I was standing before a judge, and back then they gave you two choices. Either you're going to go to jail or you're going to go to service. I'm bad. I'm going to service. So I'll tell you what, I wasn't as bad as I thought I was. But I came back, went back to school. And if it wasn't for guys like Don Planty, Coach Shaw, Coach Stennett, and of course my parents, I don't know if I'd be standing here today. And I got a quick story to tell you about Glenn Stennett. Who remembers Glenn's hands? They were huge.
I had a face mask.
Well, you remember. I went in his geography class. I walked in, and you know how they read your names, alphabetical order? Okay, Bob Marino. Right here, Robert. You're going to sit up front. Are you going to be good? And he was poking me. Yes, sir, Mr. Stennett. Yes, sir, I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. Well, one day after class, this kid bumped into me, and I pushed him. And Glenn grabbed me by the arm, and I thought he broke my arm. And he threw me up against the wall, the lockers, and I bounced and hit the floor. And that's the first time I ever heard a teacher swear. The young kids, I'll clean it up. He said, Robert, there's a good guy in there. Let that a-hole go. And you know what? Guys like him, that you grandchildren don't remember when they were young and how they affected everybody. Like these guys, men. I'm 78 years old, and I still think of those guys, how much they touched me. And I could say this right now, that Bob Shaw meant a whole lot to me. The years that I worked with him were precious. But only bad words I ever heard him say when that bald head got red.
Like that one over there. Shady gets red.
Gosh darn it, gosh darn it. I mean, that's all I ever heard him say. I never ever heard that man swear. Did you ever hear him swear?
Cheese and crackers.
What about you guys in college? Did you ever hear Coach Shaw swear?
Bobby, Coach is getting off the hook, okay? He didn't have to yell. What you feared was that tilt of the head and that ear-to-ear smile and him just going like this. Because you knew what that meant. He wasn't yelling. That meant you screwed up and don't let it happen again.
And I'll leave you with this. There's a special place in my heart Coach Shaw. There is. And Kelly and I she beat me out of breakfast too, dude. And I had to leave the tip up on top of that.
I'm my father's daughter.
No. We had a nice conversation, but I do have to say, and these guys will tell you, grown men will tell you, special place in my heart for Coach Shaw. And I thank you, and I was honored, and I know that the Honor Guard was honored to give him his military due. Thank you.
Thank you.